It's a pleasure to be here, and I'd like to thank Potential for inviting me. There's so many great ideas in the room that I've already heard about. And my presentation is less tailored to innovation than to actually the nitty-gritty of crowdfunding, because what we find is people get really excited about the concept, and then the little details of it go by the side. So what I've chosen to do today is say, I think we'll all agree crowdfunding is an innovative way to raise funds for your projects and businesses. But I've also taken the opportunity to say, okay, but this is what you need to know if you want to consider it as an option for your business. Does that sound like a reasonable way forward? Yes. Okay, so before I start, how many of you have heard of the concept before of crowdfunding? That's pretty impressive. So have you considered it as an option? Possibly, one or two. So just for those of you who haven't heard of crowdfunding, the easiest way to conceptualize what it means is actually getting small amounts of money from lots of different people, as opposed to one big sum of money from one source of funding. And the way that you do that and the power behind that is a lot of strategizing, a lot of research, and a lot of planning. So we have been around for a couple of years, and really the concept came about because we realized that about 85 out of 100 projects that apply for any kind of funding don't get it. So there's a massive opportunity, there's a massive reason why there are lots of good ideas out there that don't happen. And rather than allow one person or a small group of people to make decisions on what is a viable business or not, why not let the crowd, who is the most likely benefactor of your ideas, make the decision on whether they like what you're doing or not. I don't know why this is timed, so I'm sorry if I'm going to be out of sync. So we decided that the solution was, if we could bring together ideas and crowds, people and money, that we would actually try and solve the problem. And I can't take credit for the idea of crowdfunding because it's already about 5 years old. In the West, it's a $5 billion industry now. So I've already explained what crowdfunding is, but there's a definition which is here if you'd like to read it, but generally it's really about getting people inspired and excited about your idea enough that they want to take their wallet out and make a contribution and help you get your idea together. There are three sort of different types of people who will support you. Your friends and family are going to be the first circle of friends, and their network is going to be the second circle that comes in to support you. And after that, it really is a case of spreading the word out to the general public and inviting them to be part of your exciting opportunity. The one other thing to bear in mind is that there are different types of crowdfunding platforms. Ours is a rewards-based platform, but then there are others that are equity-based. So if you're happy to be giving away equity in your business, you may choose a different type of crowdfunding platform. There are also peer-to-peer lending platforms where you can actually borrow money from other individuals and then give the money back, sometimes with a return on their investment and sometimes not. One other thing to bear in mind is really social media is the engine of any crowdfunding campaign. And I can see in fact, two people in the room who have experienced crowdfunding and actually been very, very successful at it. They are great networkers, they embrace social media, and they have big networks around. As I said, it's a $5 billion industry, and it's a 5-year industry that has grown over 60% a year in the past couple of years. And in the region, it's still pretty minute, but I think the opportunity for growth for this industry, the crowdfunding industry, is particularly exciting. Crowdfunding is built on a couple of tenets, and those are trust and inspiration. So when people want to take part in your project, they really want to be able to trust you. And so one of the main things that you need to think about is, how does my network feel about me, and how am I going to inspire them? Who are my potential funders, what do they want? What do I have to give them back? And the other thing to bear in mind when you're choosing a crowdfunding platform is that crowdfunding platforms can be all or nothing. So it means that you set yourself a target, and if you don't reach that target, you don't get any of the money raised. Now, we chose that our platform would not be that type. So we decided that whatever money you raise, you get to keep. And we made that decision because the concept is novel in this part of the world, but also through the research we did with business owners and idea owners, they felt it was a lot of effort and a lot of time, because it does take over your life, or it should take over your life if you're doing it properly. And then to invest that time and energy in crowdfunding if at the end they were not sure they could keep any money that was raised. What we do as a platform is we facilitate your ability to raise the money. We legitimize your project, and we also use, as Dana said, our networks to help spread the word. But the important thing to really remember, and all crowdfunding platforms will tell you this, is consider it as it's your responsibility. It's a self-funding opportunity. You're in the driving seat, not the platform that you choose. And we don't see ourselves as competing with any existing sources of funding. We complement them. Some people get a little bit confused sometimes about what we are and what we're not, so we've decided to tell you what we're not. We're not a fund. We don't take equity in your business, and neither does anyone who supports your project. We don't take any rights in any intellectual property that you may have. Our name means our movies, but we're not just for film, because we want to celebrate success stories, so that's why we chose our name. We're not specifically selective. You have to actually conform to the criteria that we've set, but if we don't believe your idea is a good idea, it's not up to us to say, no, that means you cannot crowdfund. We don't become a producer on anything, and we don't sponsor anything, so that's just to make it very clear. Sometimes people say, is crowdfunding for innovative ideas and businesses different to other types of crowdfunding? Because there are crowdfundings that are for charities, for example. And in a sense it is, because what you're doing is, particularly if you have a product, you're testing the product ahead of the time that the product is going to be launched. Quite often what you're doing is raising money to create your prototype or to be able to put in that first order. And you're selling a dream to the potential people, and it's a pre-sales platform. So for example, if you're creating the next solar power gadget that's going to charge your next laptop or whatever gadget we're going to come up with, then you may want to pre-sell that ahead of the time that it's available in the market to raise the money to be able to put in the order. One example of this was on a US platform. It was called the Pebble Watch. Has anyone heard of the Pebble Watch? Well, yeah, and it raised over $10 million. They wanted $100,000, and in a couple of months they raised over $10 million with thousands of people who wanted the first basically wearable technology watch that was available. And that's the kind of excitement that drives us. We hope that we're going to be able to be the first people to unravel the next big piece of technology through our platform. So in that way it's different, but in other ways all crowdfunding really has two missions. One, to raise the money, but two, and don't underestimate the value of this, to really raise awareness. There's a statistic that says for every $1 you raise through crowdfunding, it's worth $10 in marketing money. Because the way that people find out about these projects, it's incredible. We've created our 3 C's of crowdfunding, and we say to everyone who wants to launch a project, you need to be able to connect with an audience, captivate that audience, and then convert them into wanting to be a part of the project. Quite often people think of it as asking for money. We always say, think about it as inviting people to be part of the most exciting part of your life today. So it's, you've got to change that perception or that that way of thinking and say, actually, I'm giving you an opportunity to be part of something very exciting, which if it's the Pebble Watch is a real opportunity, because the number of people who brag about the fact that they were one of the first people that put in at $99 to buy the Pebble Watch it's not funny.